Hello there, and welcome to cold and flu season during a continued global pandemic. My name's Paul Nix from the Time Repair Corporation, and I'm here to talk to you just a little bit about what you can do the moment that you find yourself or a loved one confronted with respiratory symptoms during this year. I'm going to do that by testing out this rapid COVID SARS test. So let's get started, shall we? Before we do that, a couple of quick mentions. You're feeling ill? Don't go to work. Don't infect other people. Try to limit contact with anybody. You don't necessarily know what you got, but whatever it is, you don't want to give it to other people. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and as soon as you notice, start with plenty of fluids. So, let's go ahead and get started. This will be the first COVID test that I've taken, just because I've been doing a pretty good job with my isolation the last couple of years here. But this is one of the rapid home tests. I picked this up at a grocery store, equivalent of about $5. And let's have a look at what's inside, shall we? That is the swab right there. Just so you guys can see it back at home. It says disposable sampling swab. That is a lot longer than I think I'm interested in, but we're going to do this. We've also got the rapid SARS-CoV-2 antigen test card. You can see here. This is from Boson Biotech out of the Netherlands. And let me see, we've got some other things here. And I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what all this is, but this is why we have instructions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through these really quick, and we're going to jump right back in. We're going to see how this test works, and whatever you do, I don't want you guys at home to feel like it's a complicated procedure, because it won't be that bad, no matter what. Yeah, so we're going to get through this. Just for the sake of full disclosure, found the English instructions here. So, intended use. Rapid SARS-CoV-2 antigen test card is an immunochromatography-based one-step in vitro test. It's designed for the rapid qualitative determination of SARS-CoV-2 virus antigen in the anterior nasal swabs from individuals suspected of COVID-19 within the first 7 days of symptom onset. So, you find a symptom, this is where you go. Should be quick and easy, well, ideally. But let's see. Novel coronaviruses belong to the beta genus. COVID-19 is an acute respiratory infectious disease. People are generally susceptible. Currently, the patients infected by the novel coronavirus are the main source of infection. Asymptomatic infected people can also be an infectious source, meaning you don't need to have symptoms to be spreading it. This is an important thing to remember. If you feel like a lot of people have gotten sick around you, it's probably still a fair idea to test, just to be sure. I mean, it's just a common courtesy sort of thing, right? So, fatigue, dry cough, nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, myalgia, diarrhea are often found in new cases. So if you got any kind of symptoms like that, check it out. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? It's like $5, and you're just trying to look out for people around you. So, got all kinds of details about the sensitivity and accuracy of the testing. Apparently the accuracy of the testing is about 98.72%, which is pretty damn good. And let me see information before the execution. Read the instruction guide carefully. Right? That's what we're doing. So, do not use the product beyond the expiration date. I already had a look. It's like 2022 that this one expires. Do not use the product if the pouch is damaged or the seal is broken. Seal is not broken. Pouch is undamaged. Life is good. Store the test device at 4 degrees to 30 degrees Celsius in the original sealed pouch. Do not freeze. It is pretty cold. I'm living in Finland, but I wasn't outside for that long, and it was above zero because all of the water around me in little puddles was actually water and not ice. So that's the nice thing about Celsius. If it's ice, it's under zero. If it's not, it's above zero. So, just nice things about the system. Handle all specimens as potentially infectious. Inadequate or inappropriate specimen collection, storage, transport may yield inaccurate test results. Use the swabs included in the test kit to ensure optimal performance of the test. Correct specimen collection is the most important step of the procedure. Make sure to collect enough specimen material, nasal secretion, with the swab, especially for anterior nasal sampling. That means you got to go way back there and get enough crud on there. Blow the nose several times before collecting specimen. This is news to me, but that's good. Specimens should be tested as soon as possible after collection. Apply the drops to the test specimen only to the specimen well, S. And we'll see that in just a moment. Too many or too few drops of extraction solution can lead to an invalid or incorrect test result. Okay, so we'll watch out with that solution, which I'm assuming is what we have in this little ampule here. You can see the liquid inside. And then the cap, I'm assuming, is for capping off the swab afterward, as it might have infectious material on it. So, when used as intended, there should not be any contact with the extraction buffer. In case of contact with skin, eyes, mouth, or other parts, rinse with clear water. If an irritation persists, consult a medical professional. Children at 14 years of age should be assisted by an adult. It might be fair for an adult to be assisted by an adult, but, as it is, you do what you can. So, preparation. Clear and clean a dry, flat surface. Check. Check the test contents. Make sure that nothing is damaged or broken. Looks fine. Timer at hand. I'll set a timer on this other device here. That ought to be fine. Blow your nose several times before collecting specimen. We'll get that taken care of. And wash hands. So, let me go take care of those things. And then we're going to go back through these instructions now that we're up to the procedure portion of it. And we'll go from there. As you can see, while there is a mountain of potential instructions, the part that's in English here is just this section where they're talking about what it's about, this section where they're talking about the prep, and you can see here them describing the actual procedure, where you have to go with the swab, how deep you have to go. The whole shebang's pretty well laid out. And then test results and such. So hopefully, hopefully I do not have COVID, but we'll find out. And even if I do, you'll be on the journey with me. So we'll see what happens. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to wash my hands, going to blow my nose, and then we'll get started. All right, everybody, I'm back. Well, let's take it from here. All right, everybody, I'm back. Nose is blown, hands are washed, life is good. So, sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this. Now, as I said, I haven't ever taken a COVID test before, so this will be my first time going through it. And for those of you at home, it might be that you're in the same boat. Maybe you've just never had to. Maybe for whatever reason you've been able to isolate. Maybe, who knows? It doesn't matter. What I want to establish is that it's accessible. You don't have to have the doubt in mind. You get it taken care of, and then you have a little peace of mind. If you do have COVID, you can get treatment. And if you don't have COVID, well, life is good, and you know. So, let's see. All right, procedure, right? So, test is suitable for people of all ages. Recommended operators are aging from 14 to 90, which is all right. I'm someplace in there. Children 14 years of age could be tested by an adult. Don't continue the test if the child feels any pain. So that just seems sensible, right? Don't be mean to a kid. Okay, so okay, so rotate the lid of the sample extraction buffer bottle. It's this little ampule in here. And then what's going to happen is you're going to squeeze all of the extraction buffer solution out of the bottle into the extraction tube, which is this little cap. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Well, let's read through the rest of it first, make sure. Okay, then you're going to find the swab and the sealed wrapper, identify the soft fabric tip. You're going to peel back the swab from the opposite side of the tip so that you can extract it from the package. It's going to go way back in the nose hole. So, as you can see in the diagram, way back and up. And you're going to give it a little rotation in there. And then it looks like you go in the other hole, give it a little rotation in there. And then it's going to pop right into that buffer solution. So, you drop it into the buffer solution, swirl it around a couple of times. It looks like this thing is actually squishy enough. Ah, yes, it is. So this cap is actually squishy enough that you can squeeze it to squeeze out any of the solution that might be in the swab still. That way it all stays in the thing. And then you can cap it off, pull out the test pad from this packet, the test card. Then you can drop 3 drops into the well, marked S in this case. Again, every COVID test might be a little bit different, but this is just the procedure on this one. And then you're going to wait 15 to 20 minutes and see what the results are. So let's get started. I've got the results, or the instructions sitting here, so we can just go through this. But they were saying you start out with this buffer solution. So we've got an ampule of buffer solution. It's not a ton, but it's there. And we've got this funny test well. So hold it up like this, the tip pointing up, and then you swirl it around, apparently. Then you pop off the top. Quiet, you. Cats always help a procedure like this, so make sure to involve your cat. Every time you're sticking anything in your nose or working with a contact lens, they know, so they'll be there to help you. So we're going to take this buffer solution, stick it in here. Oh. Why is your voice so rusty? Right, it's not like you're feeling any kind of respiratory symptoms and might feel a little bit dazed, or that your dexterity might not be what it should. So let's just have you do a task that's really, really painstakingly small. This will be good. So we now have it in the thingy. Great. And okay, we're now going to the swab. Let's show you the swab again. So here's the disposable sample swab. You can see that's the soft tip, and that's the handle end. So we're going to open it up from that handle end, and then pull it out. It's always interesting to get to work with sterile equipment like this and just see how it all works. I think, at least from a mechanical perspective, I think it's interesting. So I'm holding it like this just because I think I can do that and not drop everything. And if I do, then I'll have to go out and get another one of these kits. But so far, so good. Got it open, extract it. Now will be the fun part. I'm going to stick this up in my nose hole, see how it works. Wish me luck, all right? Okay, start with this side, then go to this side, right? Oh, that feels pretty gnarly. Ah. Okay, so that went way back there. So we then take it and put it into the thing. Got some crud on there. And we give it a little stir around. And then we squeeze out the juices. Squeezing out the juices. Felt really gross, by the way. But that's okay. That's part of this process. I stick it right back in the thing because it is infectious, potentially. And we're going to cap it off because it says to cap it off. Oh, I see. And the tip is actually, it's got a hole in it so that you can eyedropper out just a couple of drops. That's pretty great. Okay, so it's snapped on, which is nice. Oh, I'm going to feel that for days, aren't I? Everybody I've talked to has said that like they feel it for a long time, but I think that this one's not as bad as the initial one they were doing in airports and stuff. Oh, but you really had to cram it in there, did you? All right, so that's always what you want. When you're already feeling respiratory symptoms, you totally want to stick it in there. But this is important. This is part of the process. So we're learning together, unless you already know about this, in which case maybe you're just enjoying seeing me do this to myself. All right, excellent. So we've got this really nice little simple card. You can see it says that it's antigen test, SARS-CoV-2. It's even got an ID number thing on it so that if, for example, all right, so let's get started. 3 drops into the test well, which is labeled S at the bottom there. I'm not sure how well you can see it. Why would you bother me now about this? No, it's not that I'm gone. Okay, cats are known for being helpful, but this is not the time for them to be helpful. So we're going to do 3 drops into the test well. Let's see if I can do this where you can see it. One, 2, 3. And I'm going to set this down here. Now, you can see it's actually soaking into the center of that. It's soaking up right now. See if I can get that a little clearer. No idea, but you can see that it's coming up. And this is going to be 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer here. We're going to go from there. Yeah, now it's completely soaked through the thing. Show me timer. Yeah. Clock. Stopwatch is fine. We'll just set the stopwatch and we'll keep an eye. Now, some other things that you can do in the meantime. It's important to make sure that you're getting those fluids once again. Take care of yourself, get rest, lots of fluids. These are simple things that any grandma would tell you to do. But we're in an age where you might not be with your grandma, and that's okay. You do your best to take care of her by taking a test and making sure not to expose her to anything she doesn't need to be exposed to. Ideally, she and you have already been vaccinated as well, but there's a chance, even with a double vaccination, which is what I've got, that you can still contract COVID. And so it's important to be aware of these things. Additionally, wearing the masks is a really good bet. Most efficacy studies have actually shown that the greatest prevention effect you get is from wearing a mask, or even 2 masks doubled up. But in the meantime, make yourself some tea, have something nice. It doesn't have to be loose leaf. It can be just, what have you. But just an excuse to drink fluids. Something warm can be nice too. Additionally, there will be a point where you have rested in bed and you can't really stand to be resting in bed anymore. That's fine too. Make sure that you have something to do, some kind of hobby, something to stimulate your brain a little bit. And that can be just about anything, but don't push yourself too hard on it. Just work at it a little bit and then get yourself some more rest when you need it. Mostly just assess and be honest with how your body feels. So let's talk a little bit about the results. We're still only 2 minutes into this test out of minimum 15. So we'll see what it says, but interpretation of results. So there are 2 lines that may appear. One is labeled C and one is labeled T. One is the control zone, that's C. So that's gonna show up basically no matter what. If no line shows up in the control line, then your test has a problem. It's invalid somehow. You want to take another test. Maybe not immediately, but I would repeat it with a new test card. Now, if you get 2 colored bands, so one shows up in control and one shows up in test or T, then no matter how faint that colored band is in the test zone, you should consider that a positive result for this test. Every single test is going to have a slightly different setup, but what I'm talking about you can see right here. So that top section, it's a little blurry, but you can see top line is C, bottom line is T. Even if it's real hazy, if you see anything in T, consider yourself to be infected. Wear your masks, get medical help, consult your local regional medical services to figure out exactly how that's done, but do something. Don't infect other people. We should be washing up and doing these things anyway, but if there's one thing that we learned from the beginning of this pandemic, it's that people weren't washing their hands in the beginning, and many of us still aren't. So how about keep washing your hands, keep wearing masks. Even if your government has stated that it's not mandatory, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea if you're crammed into a small space with a whole bunch of people to mask up. It's not that bad. Just protect yourself and others. So let me see. Okay, so if you just have the colored band appearing in the control zone and nothing appears in the test section within 15 to 20 minutes, then the test result is negative. So that's what I'm hoping for today, because this is probably just minor seasonal cold, flu, and that's okay. That happens, but again, still do your best not to spread it to everybody. No matter what symptom it is you've got, you're just being a jerk if you want to go out and sneeze on everybody. So don't do it. Don't be that guy. And we had the invalid. So quality control. If the control line, the control line is an integrated reagent and it's used to control the procedure. The control line appears when the test has been performed correctly and the reagents are reactive. So then you've got frequently asked questions. How does the detection work? The N protein of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, so part of the virus's coat, will react with the stripe-like coating of the test line if it's present. So the results will be a color change. An example, a red line appears. Therefore, if the sample does not contain any viral proteins or antigens, this N protein, then there will be no red test line at T. Now, when should or can I test myself? You can test yourself whether you have symptoms or not. So this is probably something that I should have done long ago anyway, just to be sure. It's not something you got to do all the time, but like just to make sure. Studies show that earlier testing within the first 4 days of illness typically means a higher viral load, which is easier to detect. So this means that when you are first showing symptoms, you're already putting out a lot of infectious agents. So again, if you've got the onset of some kind of a symptom, don't be a jerk. Don't take it to your workmates, and ideally don't infect anybody if you can. But make sure you take care of yourself and the people around you. That's really what it's all about. It's not a political thing. It's never been. It's about just common sense and treating others the way you would expect that they should treat you or your family. So, let me see. What can affect my test result? What should I pay attention to? Be sure that you blow your nose multiple times before collecting the specimen. Be sure to visibly collect sample material, nasal secretions. It was gross. Did I show that to the camera? I don't know, but if I didn't, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because it looked kind of gross. Perform the test immediately after taking the sample. Pull it out, stick it in the thing. Follow the instructions for use carefully. Apply the drops of extraction solution only to the sample well. S. So that part's easy. Too many or too few drops of extraction solution can lead to an invalid or incorrect test result. So that's the thing. The test strip is clearly discolored or smudged. What's the reason for this? Please note that the test card should not be used with more than 3 drops of sample solution, as the liquid absorption of the test strip is naturally limited. If the control line does not appear or the test strip is badly smudged or discolored, making it unreadable, please repeat the test according to the instructions. So this wasn't a problem for me. Number 5, I've taken the test, but I don't see a control line. What should I do? Your test result is invalid. Observe the answer to question number 4. Repeat the test according to instructions for use. This huge set of instructions would not be so huge if they didn't have to repeat themselves for a lot of basic things like this. So just read the instructions through the first time before you even open everything up. Because your whole setup may be totally different from mine. Mine is only applying to this one and probably only this model of this test from this company. So be sure you actually pay attention to your setup. Number 6, I am unsure about reading the result. What should I do? For the result to be positive, 2 straight horizontal lines must be clearly visible, the full width of the cassette. If you are still unsure about the results, contact the nearest health facility according to the recommendation of your local authorities. Good advice. Number 7, my result is positive. What should I do? If your result is positive and the test kit thus clearly indicates the control line as well as the test line, you should contact the nearest medical facility as recommended by your local authorities. Your test result may be double-checked, and the authority or facility will explain the appropriate next steps. You don't need to have all the answers, you just need to figure out who knows them. Number 8, my result is negative. What should I do? If the test kit clearly shows only the control line, this may mean that you are negative, or that the viral load is too low to be detected. If you experience symptoms, headache, fever, migraine, loss of sense of smell or taste, this is a key one. Can't smell your scented IKEA candle, that's something to worry about. Please consult your primary care physician or the nearest healthcare facility as recommended by your local authorities. If you are not sure, you can repeat the test. Number 9, how do I dispose of the product? The test kit may be disposed of with normal household waste in accordance with the applicable local regulations. So be sure that they don't have any kind of directions for anything that might be biohazard, but do your best to seal it up in its own bag if you can, just in case. You don't want to just have a ton of infectious agents out there, or potentially infectious agents, especially if you test positive. I mean, yeah. So we're at about 11 minutes, so we're pretty close. Let me see if there's anything else. It's going to feel weird for a couple of days, I'm sure. But I want to thank you guys again for sticking around this long into the video, if you have. If you haven't, then I'm talking to myself, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter that much anyway. This is just an opportunity, if you haven't ever tried one of these, to see what it's like and to experience it for the first time with me. So I want to thank you for that. Interesting instructions, if nothing else. From an engineering perspective, I think that it's really important to see how our medical system works, how our bodies work as much as possible. You've always got to be able to sort of jump into these things and see what it's about, because there's really nothing stopping us but ourselves. So soothing, having some tea on a nice autumn evening. That's good, a chance to just sit and breathe. We're at about 12 minutes and 40 seconds. If you guys are here, it probably means that you already had some kind of a connection to the YouTube channel or to my company. If you've never heard of it before, it's called the Time Repair Corporation. We're a sustainability and education-focused consulting firm, and our purpose is to progress the UN Sustainable Development Goals as much as possible. We want to do that is self-supporting, that is easily replicated, that can create jobs and opportunities for students, for young people, for immigrants, for anyone who might have had any kind of problems doing anything a standard way, and for anybody who just wants to make a change in the way that their world works. That's effectively what we're about. So because of that, we take on a lot of interesting projects, and if you'd like to be involved in those or know more about them, check us out. I'll throw a link in here, timerepaircorp.com. You can also check out the other videos on our YouTube channel, and you can check out some of our partner projects, for example, the Interchange blog that we run with Perced Education. You can check out escapesagas.fi, which is an escape room that has actually been designed with sustainability and education in mind. It's a partnership that I've made here in Finland, but we've got digital escape rooms that are playable from anywhere on the planet, so you don't necessarily even have to risk going out and infecting yourself or others. And if you're feeling sick but still have enough energy, you can contact some friends and family and effectively just jump into the equivalent of a Zoom call that has pirates and time travel. Because if you're going to be in a Zoom call, you may as well enjoy the process. So check that out. And yeah, I hope to hear from you guys if you've got ideas about projects that you want to move forward on in the future, or if you just want to know more about what we're doing. Feel free to contact me any way you can find me. Yeah. Anyway, it's been about 15 minutes, so that is the basic amount of time for this test. And now for the big reveal. We have just a line on the top, the control, which is a negative test result. So I'm really stoked about that. This is really good. And that means that there was no viral load detected. Now, as the frequently asked questions said, that does not mean 100% that I don't have COVID. It does mean that there was not enough viral load on that swab to trigger a positive result. So always remember how a test works and look at what the results and conditions are. So it is likely that I do not have COVID, which is good. It still means that whatever it is that's been going on with me the last couple of days, probably a seasonal cold or flu. So, plenty of fluids, plenty of rest, chicken soup maybe, if that's your thing. Otherwise, you can go vegetable broth or whatever you want. But take care of yourselves, people. It's really important. And in the meantime, do your best to just be connected to your family, or the people you choose. Your friends are the family that you choose, so they're important too. Connect to the people who matter and be there for them. If it turns out that you want to see a slightly different world in the future, reach out to someone like me or start building a project of your own, because there's no reason to wait around. No one's gonna stop you effectively from doing something that makes the world a better place. And if they do, you just keep going anyway, because that's about the most punk rock thing you can do with it. So I want to thank you guys again. We're at about 17 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up about when we get to the 20-minute mark, just for the sake of full validity on the test, just in case in the last couple of minutes a second line decides to spring up, but at this point it looks clear. What else to talk about? Yeah, well, there's always plenty to talk about, and if you guys want, feel free to throw questions or comments in the comments. Feel free to reach out through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through what have you, whatever channel it is that makes the most sense to you. And do your best while you're out there to just take care of yourselves and one another. We've got some resources that are limited and some that are less limited. But one of the ones that we only ever get once is time. So make sure that you use your time effectively. Even if you're sick. You know, don't just veg out and do something because it's there. Make the conscious choice. You always wanted to read that book? Read that book. Wanted to play around with an instrument? Order the instrument. You know, get a basic version of it online. Do something to change the course of your future. That's all the present is an opportunity to do something with your time. So make the most of it. Take it from me, a time travel CEO. That's all time is. And we're already time traveling, every single one of us, moving forward into the future every second. So, thank you guys once again for watching the video. Watching me cram a thing way up my nose hole. It's kind of gross, but you guys are the ones watching, so yeah. Does that mean that the guy who stuck the thing in his nose hole gets to judge the people who were watching it? Because, like, that's weird for everybody. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this process. I feel like I did. Yeah, this was just interesting, and I think worthwhile. We're at about 20 minutes now, and once again, it looks like there's still no indication. I don't see any kind of color change in the test area of the strip, which should mean negative test, which is awesome. And we go from there. I'm gonna still stick all these things in the little baggie so that they can be disposed of effectively, because whether it's COVID or not, something is giving me symptoms, and I don't want to spread it to other people. So be like that. Don't spread stuff to other people. This is how we can take care of one another, because the world won't get any better if we don't start treating all of our problems like our problems. So someone else is hurting, someone else is experiencing injustice or pain or hunger or anything else. Until that's your problem, until that's something that you're doing something about, it's not going to get any better. So put some work into it. pick a project that matters to you and jump in and get started. And if you need ideas, tips, or anything else, reach out to somebody who's doing something. It doesn't have to be me, it can be anybody. But do your best to make the world a better place, and life will be better for everybody. Thank you guys again. See you guys next time when we're doing something ideally a little different than cramming things up my nose. But let me know what you guys think. If this was kind of interesting and you want to see other related content or other things, or just want to go through whatever, just let me know and we can work that out. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Once again, this is Paul Nix from the Time Repair Corporation, and look forward to fixing the future with you. But first rest. And yeah, stay healthy, everybody.